This story will shock you. Imagine being pushed out of the life of the woman you love the most, and 6 years later, seeing her again, with a little boy by her side who looks exactly like you. How would you react? This is the story of Ji-woo, a man whose heart was shattered by a misunderstanding, or worse, by a cruel trap. Just when he thought he had moved on, fate brought his past back, with one detail that's impossible to ignore. Hey, I noticed you've been watching our videos, but you haven't liked or subscribed yet. That makes all the difference for us to keep bringing you emotional stories full of twists like this one. So go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what you thought of this surprising story. Ji-woo was a hard-working, determined man, the son of a humble mechanic and a public school teacher. He built his small tech company with effort and dedication. He dreamed of a future alongside Haeun, his college sweetheart. She came from a powerful, traditional family, but was simple, sweet, and genuine. Their love seemed strong enough to overcome their social differences, or so Ji-woo believed. What he didn't know was that Haeun's father, Congressman Min-soo, had very different plans for his daughter's future, and Ji-woo wasn't part of them. Min-soo saw Ji-woo as insignificant for his only heir, and to get him out of the way, he devised a cold, calculated plan. He hired hackers to forward conversations, created fake message screenshots, and even staged a setup. He had it all delivered to Haeun in a brown envelope, along with an anonymous letter. The goal was simple: destroy her trust. That night, Ji-woo came home to their small apartment feeling joyful. He had just closed his first international deal, brought flowers, and was ready to celebrate with the woman he loved. But when he opened the door, he found Haeun sitting on the floor, crying, the envelope open beside her. Her mother was there in tears, and her father watched with a look of victory. "You lied to me all this time?" Haeun cried. "You cheated on me, Ji-woo." He was speechless. He tried to explain, denied everything, swore it was all a lie. But the damage was done. She was blinded by pain. Min-soo shoved him out of the house and said coldly, "You're not even worthy of apologizing." And just like that, Ji-woo was expelled from her life. In the days that followed, he tried to call, send messages, even look for her in person, but nothing worked. Every door was closed. Haeun had changed her number, left social media, even moved to a new address. Ji-woo was devastated. The pain was so deep, he decided to abandon everything. He moved to a different city, threw himself into work, and shut his heart off to love. Over the next 6 years, he built a solid company, expanded other cities, and became a respected name in the tech industry. But inside, he remained broken. Then, on an ordinary morning during a business trip to Seoul, Ji-woo walked into a cafe near their old university. He just wanted a quick coffee. But suddenly, he heard a child's voice shouting, "Mom, wait!" Instinctively, he looked to the side, and time seemed to freeze. Haeun was on the other side of the cafe, holding the hand of a little boy. The boy looked about 6 years old, but the most shocking detail was his face. It was like Ji-woo was staring at a younger version of himself. Same face shape, same determined eyes, same shy smile. Ji-woo's heart pounded. It couldn't be, and yet it obviously was. The boy's age lined up exactly with the time since the breakup. Ji-woo's hands trembled. He stood there, hidden behind a car, watching mother and son get into their car. His breathing became shallow. It was as if the past was screaming right in his face. In the following days, Ji-woo couldn't think about anything else. He searched through social media until he found the name of the photography studio Haeun had opened. And there, among the posts, he found confirmation. The boy's name was Do-hyun. His heart nearly stopped. Do-hyun, the very name he and Haeun had joked about one night while dating. This couldn't be a coincidence. It was fate. Without hesitation, Ji-woo went to the studio. When he walked in, Haeun was facing away, arranging photos. When she turned and saw Ji-woo standing there, her face turned pale. Silence filled the room. Neither could speak. Then Ji-woo broke the silence, his voice trembling. "Do-hyun, is he my son, Hone?" She froze. Tears welled up in her eyes. But before she could answer, Do-hyun came running into the studio with a drawing in his hands. "Mommy, look what I made." And when he saw Ji-woo, he smiled and said, "Hi, Ajusi." In that moment, Ji-woo knew that boy was a son, not just because of how he looked, but because of the immediate connection he felt. His blood ran wild in his veins. But what shocked him even more was the question that wouldn't leave his mind. Why did she hide this from me? What secret was still buried in this story? Ji-woo left the studio with a shattered heart and a storm in his head. The image of Do-hyun smiling at him, with the same sparkle in his eyes that Ji-woo saw in the mirror, wouldn't leave his mind. Why had Hone hidden this from him? He deserved to know. He had the right. And now, more than ever, he wanted the truth. The next day, Ji-woo sent a message to Hone, asking to speak in private, without the boy around. She hesitated and took hours to reply. But by late afternoon, she agreed. They arranged to meet at a quiet park. She arrived wearing sunglasses and a cap, as if trying to hide more than just her face. When they sat on the bench, silence settled again, until Ji-woo asked, straight to the point, "Why did you never tell me?" Hone lowered her head, her eyes filled with tears, and then she began to speak. She said that after the breakup, she found out she was pregnant just a few weeks later. She tried to call him, tried to find him, but all his numbers had changed. He had disappeared. Ji-woo's eyes widened. "I disappeared? Hone, I looked for you for months. Your father threatened me. Your friends ignored me. Your mother turned her back on me." That's when Hone revealed what he didn't know. The day after breakup, her father gave her a supposed handwritten confession from Ji-woo, saying the relationship had been a mistake and that he was leaving forever. "I thought you had given up on me. I thought I was letting go of someone who had cheated, and then cowardly ran away." The pain in her eyes was real, but the fury burning in Ji-woo's chest was stronger. "Your father destroyed me." That night, Ji-woo couldn't sleep. He thought about everything he had lost because of a lie. And now what should he do? He had a son the whole world had tried to hide from him. The next day, he hired a lawyer. He wanted to secure his rights over Do-hyun, but he also didn't want to traumatize the boy. So he looked for a legal way to request a DNA test discreetly. Hone, despite her family's disapproval, agreed. The test confirmed Do-hyun was 99.9% Ji-woo's son. Holding that paper felt like reliving 6 years in a single second. At the same time he felt joy, there was pain. Hone cried, asking for forgiveness. She said she would have done everything differently if she had known he hadn't abandoned her. "Your father destroyed 3 lives with 1 lie," Ji-woo said, "but I'll fix what I can." In the following days, Ji-woo slowly began to get closer to his son. At first, just as a friend of the studio, Do-hyun adored him. They drew together, talked about technology, laughed. The boy had no idea that this nice Ajusi was actually his real father, and that hurt Ji-woo more than he could have imagined. He wanted to shout to the world, but he knew he had to wait for the right time. And that's when everything changed again. Min-soo found out Ji-woo was back and reconnecting with Hone. Furious, he stormed into her studio in the middle of the afternoon and shouted in front of clients, "You're going to ruin your life again for a nobody? He'll drag you down just like before." For the first time, Hone stood up to her father. "You lied, Dad. You ruined my life with a filthy setup." But Min-soo didn't back down. He said that if she continued with this, he would destroy her reputation and demand custody of Do-hyun based on emotional instability of the mother. That was the breaking point. Hone went to Ji-woo that night. She told him everything. And for the first time, he saw her broken panicking. Not for herself, but for their son. He's going to take my son from me. Jiwoo, I know what my father is capable of. Jiwoo held her hands. You're not alone anymore. I'll fight for both of you. And in that moment, for the first time in 6 years, she felt safe by his side. But Jiwoo also had a plan. And it didn't just include winning back his family. He wanted justice. And he would begin where it all started, by unmasking Congressman Min-soo. Jiwoo knew that if he wanted to protect Haun and Do-hyun, he would have to face the man who had destroyed his life with lies, Min-soo, the all-powerful congressman. But now, Jiwoo was no longer a love-struck kid. He was a successful businessman, the owner of a network of tech startups, with many discreet allies who owed him favors. The first thing he did was gather evidence. He searched through Haun's old emails, archived conversations, and traces of the fake breakup letter. He discovered that Min-soo had used a personal assistant to forge a letter that drove them apart. More than that, the same assistant was mysteriously promoted just weeks later. Coincidence? With the help of a hacker friend, Jiwoo accessed old security camera footage from the building where Haun used to live. There was Min-soo leaving her apartment with an envelope in hand the day after the breakup. With all the pieces falling into place, Jiwoo realized he had a dossier. But that wasn't all. Jiwoo also discovered something even darker. Min-soo was laundering campaign money through fake NGOs. With damning evidence in hand, Jiwoo thought about going straight to the press, but he knew he had to be strategic. If he moved too fast, Min-soo could destroy evidence and intimidate witnesses. So he decided to act silently and patiently. Meanwhile, Haun was trying to move on. Now that she knew the truth, the way she looked at Jiwoo had changed. She saw again the man she had once fallen in love with, but she was also afraid of opening her heart again and losing everything once more. Still, in the little gestures, the coffee they shared while Do-hyun played nearby, their connection reignited. On a rainy night, Jiwoo dropped her off at home. As she was saying goodbye, he held her hand. I still love you, Haun, even after everything. She replied with teary eyes, I love you too. Days later, Jiwoo reached out to a trusted journalist, Junho, who owed him a big favor from the past. I have a scandal that can bring down a congressman, but I need him exposed at the right moment. You understand? Junho was shocked when he saw the documents. With this, he won't just lose a seat. He'll go to prison. As they plotted Min-soo's downfall, Jiwoo was also preparing himself emotionally to tell Do-hyun the truth. The child already saw him as a cool adult friend, but didn't know about their real bond. They decided to do it together. The following weekend, they took the boy to a park and sat under a tree. Haun began, Son, remember when you asked me why your father never showed up? He nodded with wide eyes. Jiwoo leaned closer and said, It's because I didn't know you existed, Do-hyun. But now I do, and I'm here because I'm your father. The silence lasted for eternal seconds. The boy's eyes widened. He looked at his mom, then at Jiwoo, and then he asked, You're really my dad? For real, real? Jiwoo nodded, tears in his eyes, and Do-hyun jumped into his arms. I always wanted a dad. Do I have one now? In that moment, Jiwoo's heart shattered from pain. It was pure love, unconditional forgiveness, a new beginning. But while they were smiling, Min-soo was preparing in the shadows. He knew Jiwoo was getting too close to the truth. And when Haun, in a moment of courage, posted a photo of the three of them together on social media with the caption, Family, she had no idea that hell was about to begin. Min-soo called her that night, his voice cold. You're making the wrong choice. If you insist, I'll destroy you. And him. She hung up, but she was trembling. Jiwoo, who heard everything, didn't hesitate. It's time. Let's bring him down. The next morning, the scandal exploded in the media. Headlines across the country. Congressman Min Soo accused of forgery and money laundering. Images, audio, documents, everything came out, and it was Ji-woo who leaked it all through an anonymous journalist. Min Soo was summoned to testify. The house of cards collapsed, but not without consequences. 2 days later, Ha-eun was in a mysterious accident after work. Her car was blocked by a black van. Nothing was stolen, just a warning. Stay away from him, or next time you won't get out alive. Ji-woo lost it. He rushed to the hospital, saw the bruised face of the woman he loved, and swore. Now it's war, and in this war, Ji-woo wasn't going to lose. After the attack on Ha-eun, Ji-woo completely lost his composure. It was the second time Min Soo had tried to destroy him, and now he had put the life of the woman Ji-woo loved and his own son at risk. This was no longer about justice. It was personal. At the hospital, even while injured, Ha-eun begged Ji-woo not to do anything reckless. If you become like him, who will protect Do-hyun? Those words hit hard. Ji-woo knew that anger could blind him, but there was something that fueled him more than hate, love. And it was for love that he chose to be cold and strategic. With help from Junho, the journalist, Ji-woo discovered that Min Soo kept a secret warehouse where he had confidential documents and recorded compromising videos of political opponents. That was where he buried his darkest secrets. The mission now was to gain access to that place and expose everything at once. But as Ji-woo dug into Min Soo's past, a revelation dropped like a bomb. The congressman hadn't acted alone back then. At the time he separated Ji-woo and Ha-eun, he had help from someone very close. His own mother. Yes, his own mother, Mrs. Yeonhee, had conspired with Min Soo. She had never approved of her son's relationship with Ha-eun. When Min Soo suggested breaking them apart, she not only agreed, but helped execute the plan. And the worst part, it was her idea that Ha-eun should disappear and leave Ji-woo free to focus on business. When he confronted her, Ji-woo was in shock. You knew she was pregnant? You kept me from my own son. His mother, unfazed, replied, I did what was best for you. That girl was a mistake. But now Ji-woo saw it clearly. The biggest mistake of his life was trusting someone who was supposed to protect him. Shattered inside, Ji-woo cut all ties with his mother, and that only made him more determined to bring Min Soo down. With Junho and 2 other allies who had also suffered at the hands of the congressman, he crafted a perfect plan to break into the warehouse and steal the evidence. During the night, while Min Soo was in a private meeting, Ji-woo and his allies invaded the place. They wore masks, carried listening devices and cameras. Inside, they found secret dossiers, blackmail videos, forged contracts, and even old photos of Ha-eun, taken secretly. Proof that Min Soo had been stalking her long before everything happened. With everything in hand, Ji-woo knew he was close to victory, but he needed to be patient. Instead of releasing everything to the media, he decided to use Min Soo's own tactics against him. Blackmail. He called the congressman directly, for the first time in years. When Min Soo answered, Ji-woo spoke coldly. If you don't disappear from public life within 48 hours, I will destroy you, personally, politically, and financially. I have everything. Min Soo laughed, as if unimpressed. You think you're the only one who can play dirty, Ji-woo? You forget who controls the courts, the media, the corporations. I am the system. And then, with the same calm tone, Ji-woo replied, and the system just turned against you, because now I have something no one can ignore, and you will pay. But Min Soo had one last card to play. 2 days later, a video hit the internet, a forged, edited video that appeared to show Ji-woo bribing a judge. The media went into a frenzy. Police raided his company. Investors began to pull out. War had officially been declared. Even so, Ji-woo didn't back down. He knew it was all a smokescreen. He released the first dossier against Min Soo through an international platform. The truth began to come out slowly, but the impact was massive. Allied congressmen began resigning. A parliamentary inquiry was launched. and Min Soo's name was stained for good. Meanwhile, Haun and Do Hyun were placed under private security. Ji-woo temporarily moved in with them like a real family, even if under threat. One night, he prepared a special dinner for them. When Do Hyun went to sleep, he knelt in front of Haun. I know all this is madness, but if we survived it all, it's because we still belong together. Will you marry me, Haun? She hesitated for a few seconds, then smiled through her tears and said, Yes. It was a moment of light amidst the chaos. But that light was about to be extinguished. The next day, Do Hyun didn't show up at school. The nanny who went pick him up found out he had never entered the building. A car with an unknown driver had taken him, claiming it was at his father's request. When Ji-woo got the call from the school, his heart stopped. Do Hyun had been kidnapped. On his phone screen, a short message. Now it's your turn to feel pain. Min Soo. Time seemed to have frozen. Ji-woo ran from one side to the other, desperate, breathless, calling every contact who could help him find Do Hyun. The boy's kidnapping was the greatest pain he could ever feel. The child was his soul, his blood, and now, the same man who had destroyed his past was threatening to erase his future. But Ji-woo was no longer the naive young man from years ago. He now had connections, power, and most importantly, the truth on his side. With the help of Junho and the hacker Soiree, a former university classmate who owed Ji-woo an old favor, they tracked the origin of the message sent by Min Soo, an old country house on the outskirts of Busan, the same place where, years ago, Haun had been kept isolated before giving birth. It was symbolic. It was cruel. Ji-woo went there personally. He was willing to do anything, even die, to rescue his son. Armed with evidence, microcameras, and a small transmitter, he entered the dark mansion, prepared for the worst. As he entered, he saw Do Hyun tied to a chair, but apparently unharmed. Min Soo was there, calmly sitting with a glass of soju. I knew you'd come, Ji-woo. Always so predictable. But Ji-woo wasn't shaken. It's over, Min Soo. You went too far. This time, there's no escape. Min Soo laughed in disdain. You still don't get it. It doesn't matter if you have evidence. I'm the one who holds this country together. If I fall, many fall with me. They will never let that happen. That's when Ji-woo revealed his final trump card. In the days leading up, he had formed alliances with Min Soo's former allies, all of them either regretful or afraid of falling too. With Soiree's help, he created a hidden live broadcast directly from that room. The entire country was watching Min Soo confess to his crimes. By the time Min Soo realized he was being recorded, it was too late. He tried to escape, but the police were already surrounding the area. Ji-woo grabbed his son in his arms and got out before everything exploded, literally. In desperation, Min Soo had started a small fire, trying to destroy the evidence. But nothing could save him anymore. He was arrested minutes later. 1 week later, all of Korea was talking about the scandal. Congressman Min Soo had fallen from grace. All his allies were under investigation. Ji-woo, despite being unfairly attacked with doctor videos, was acquitted. The truth came out, and then the healing began. In court, during Min Soo's trial, Haun held Ji-woo's hand. When she saw the man who destroyed their lives being sentenced, she cried. Not with joy, but with release. Ji-woo hugged her tightly. Now, our past is finally clean. 2 months later, Haun and Ji-woo got married in a simple ceremony with only close friends. Junho was the best man. Do Hyun, with his innocent joy, carried the wedding rings. For the first time, they were a real family. Ji-woo sold his company and began leading an NGO focused on victims of corruption and judicial abuse. He used his pain to help heal the pain of others. Haun opened a small bookstore cafe. There, she rebuilt her life, far from politics, violence, and trauma, a place of peace. And Do Hyun, he grew up proud of his parents. He knew that despite all the scars, there was one thing that conquered everything: love. Life can be unfair, cruel, and full of people willing to do anything for power. But in the midst of darkness, truth is the only weapon that remains. Jiwoo was hurt, deceived, and betrayed, but he chose the path of justice. And by doing so, he reclaimed what was most precious: his family, his dignity, and his peace. Because revenge might bring relief, but only redemption brings freedom. Hey, if you made it this far, it's because you were drawn into this story, right? But here's the thing. Lots of people watch the videos and just leave without leaving a like, without commenting, and worst of all, without subscribing to the channel. That's really discouraging for those who create this content with so much love. So, if you enjoyed this story, drop a comment telling us what you thought of the ending, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who loves K-dramas. Let's take more stories like this to the world.